What's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Turf. We've got a lot to go through today. We appreciate y'all joining back in and listening. Please hit that like and subscribe button and turn that notification bell on so that you know every time we post. With that, we're going to go right into it. Today, we're starting out with discussing new coaching hires that happened this offseason and what to expect from them in their first year. Andrew, who do you got?
So we've got a couple guys listed today. For starters, I'm gonna start out with old Brian Kelly, one of the bigger ones. Coming from Notre Dame to LSU, he's won 10 plus games in 7 seasons at Notre Dame, or seven. He's won 10 plus games 7 times in Notre Dame. Been to the college football playoffs twice and an ACC championship. Hasn't won one, but he's still been there, all right, and he knows what it's like to be there and what it's like to get a team there. So I think for LSU, there's a lot of coaches off of the market and not much to really pick from. I think they got a really good coach in Brian Kelly. And I mean, he's got heavy expectations with LSU because they've always been on the good side of recruiting. And he's bringing a little bit more of that there, but they've always been on the good side. So he has like quite a bit to work with. And I think in the years to come, he'll kind of amp them up a little bit. They've kind of been down year a couple years since Joe Burrow won the national championship and Ed Ogeron leaving the house. So I think Brian Kelly is a really good pickup for LSU, and I think he's going to do good things there. But we'll see in the first couple years. It'll be kind of like a make or break in the first couple years.
Uh, on top of that, some news coming from the LSU camp today, I believe. Miles Brennan has been determined that he will not be the starter, and so he is walking away from football.
Ooh,
Now the starting competitions between Garrett Nussmeier and Jaden Daniels. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out down there. It's getting interesting down there in Baton Rouge. So the first guy that I would like to talk about tonight, of course, it's going to be my old boy Brent Venables. Uh, he started out his coaching career under Bill Snyder, a Hall of Fame coach. He then moved to be a co-defensive coordinator on Bob Stoops' original staff at Oklahoma. And then in 2012, he moved to be under Dabo Sweeney at Clemson to be the defensive coordinator. He's coached in 8 national championships, has won 3. He's never been a head coach, and that's hurt him a lot. And a lot of people's reviews of him saying why he's going to be a good head coach, but this year it's going to be a learning year. And I disagree. I think he's going to be a great head coach from the start. You can tell Oklahoma really needed somebody that could come in and save this last recruiting class in 2022 with such a short time, and somebody that could make the national media realize that Oklahoma isn't going anywhere because Lincoln Riley left. And he's done just that. He came in and he got the number 8 ranked recruiting class, I believe, in 2022 with only a couple weeks. And that's the highest that I think the highest that Lincoln Riley has ever gotten was 8. And in 2023, we're looking like we're going to have a top 5 class already. I feel like he's going to blow up. I think this year it may be a little bit of a learning, but we're not going anywhere. It's not going to be an 8-win season. I think the over under is 8.5 wins or 9 wins, and I'm
yeah,
taking the over on that all day with Brent Venables. He was able to bring in a great staff with Jeff Lebby. Uh, Jeff Lebby's been is a
yeah, he's
phenomenal
a
talent. He's gonna be a head coach one day too. So and I believe that Todd Bates, defensive line, you see what Clemson does every year at defensive line, and now that's going to be a Sooner trait. So Oklahoma's going to get back to their roots. So they're going to play tough nose football on the defensive side, and we're still going to be electric on offense. He put together an overall great staff, and he got people in that we needed from the transfer portal. And I think this year is probably going to be the biggest transfer portal class that we're going to have under him. But I believe Oklahoma's going places with him. I think this was the right job for him. This is home for him. This is where all his kids were born. So I think he loves this place and he's invested in this place. And so it's going to be good for Oklahoma, I feel like. So I think that's probably my top one is Brent Venables if we had to rank him.
yeah. I agree. I don't think Oklahoma's going anywhere at all. I mean, they had a really huge part of their team for the past year, like a couple years, leave. and he's coached at Oklahoma before, so I believe like he's going to just kind of bring them all together since Lincoln left and kind of caused a lot of tension in the locker room a little bit, taking some players with him. I think he's going to be like a good addition to the team. He's a little different, and I mean, it might take. I think I'm taking the over on the 8 wins too, but I think maybe the first year he's going to get his feet wet, and then years to come is going to be some good competition. So leading on into that, let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and say my biggest. I said Brian Kelly, but my biggest is old Lincoln Riley headed to USC. All right.
Oh,
So he just kind of he was kind of the domino effect for a lot of these teams going out and getting new coaches and stuff like that, and people leaving and and I think there's no really introduction needed. He's had Heisman QBs like brought him up, and Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, almost had another one with Jalen Hurts. I mean, going to USC, he's bringing Caleb Williams with him, one of the best QBs that they probably had since Sam Darnold. He's bringing Travis Dye from Oregon and Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son, from Colorado. All right, they're on the right path. And with like all this new like recruiting opening up for him on the West Coast, I think it's just going to be really big for him as well. And you can't really knock him out this season for even being in like a title contender. But I mean, obviously things are going to change for him and like a different schedule, seeing different teams and stuff like that. So we'll really see what he's kind of made of in these next couple of years, I feel like, and see if he can kind of bring a new team together and see if he can like lead them, to the promised land.
so one addition that you talked about shortly, that I think is very underrated is the addition of Travis Dye at running back. Travis Dye has had outstanding years at Oregon. He was one of the top running backs in the nation. And when he entered the transfer portal, I wasn't really sure where he was going to go. But bringing him to the likes of USC under an offense from Lincoln Riley, I think that's going to be very dangerous. Lincoln's offense is normally based off of the run. So they'll run, and then they'll do their passing off play action, off the runs. So, and Travis Dye is going to be able to hurt a lot of people. I think coming out of the backfield, catching the ball and running the ball. Caleb Williams is obviously a phenomenal talent. One of the knocks that I want to see Lincoln Riley prove wrong, and people have talked about, is Lincoln Riley has had great success with quarterbacks. Yes, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. Baker Mayfield walked on at Texas Tech before he transferred to Oklahoma. He played and he won Big 12 Player of the Year, I think Offensive Player of the Year, and at Texas Tech. But he got hurt, got a starting job took, and so then he transferred. So he was already a phenomenal talent. We know that. Then he walked on at Oklahoma. Didn't tell the coaches he was until he walked on, and he walked up and said, "My name's Baker, and I'm playing football for you." And then Kyler Murray's the second one. Kyler Murray was phenomenal talent at Texas A&M already, even coming out of high school. I would say one of the best high school quarterbacks to ever play.
I agree.
And then he transferred to Oklahoma, and Lincoln Riley did he sat behind Baker too. So I think that gave him a lot, sitting behind Baker and learning. I think that did a lot for him too. And then Jalen Hurts was already a winner at Alabama. I mean, you could just tell it. He wasn't the best thrower of the football, but he knew how to win football games before he came. So my biggest thing is, can Lincoln Riley develop a kid out of high school? He recruited Spencer Rattler, and we saw that turned out. It didn't turn out well for him. But now he has Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was phenomenal in his first year. I loved Caleb Williams. I was all on the Caleb Williams hype train, still am. But he made some really sketchy decisions at times throwing the football. Lincoln needs to be able to teach him how to read defenses and how to take care of the football. And I think he's going to be able to. But we'll see. Lincoln's has not had the chance to prove that he can develop high school talent that wasn't already somewhere else at the quarterback position. So I'm really excited to see how he does there with the addition of Brendan Rice, as you stated. They brought Jordan Addison on as well. He was Bolitnikoff for Pitt this year, best wide receiver in the nation. And so now he's coming to USC along with them. So that's going to be a fun team to watch. I'm not sure how well they're going to do because that line is not very good. So we'll see what Lincoln can draw up, but that was a great hire. I agree as well.
Mm.
But the next guy that I want to talk about is Mario Cristobal going from Oregon to Miami. Miami they've been a team that they used to be good, and it's always one of those teams. Miami's back. Miami's back. We'll see. We'll see. I think they had some hard times recruiting, but now that they have NIL, it's a place that every high school kid's going to want to go play mostly. I mean, who doesn't want to live in Miami, Florida and play Miami football? I mean, so they're getting a lot of money. Mario Cristobal is a phenomenal coach, and he's recruiting his butt off right now, and he has the talent down there in South Florida to be able to not really. I mean, he's going to leave and he's going to go get talents out of state, but he has a lot of talent just sitting there in his backyard waiting to come. So I think Mario Cristobal in his first year, I think they'll be all right. I don't think they'll be phenomenal or make the playoffs, but they have Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, I believe. And Mario Cristobal is going to get that team right, and he's going to make sure they're a hard-nosed football team. I mean, he was the coach of Oregon when they went into Ohio State last year and put it on the Buckeyes. So I'm really excited to see how he does in his first year there at Miami.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest problems with Miami, I feel like, is recruiting and the fact that they're letting all these like athletes leave their own backyard, like you said, going to different schools, going to play in the SEC. But I feel like with him moving there and he signed like top 10 classes year in, year out, top 15 classes year in, year out, and at Oregon. Okay. And he's got a lot to work with in Oregon, Nike headquarters, whatnot, but he's got a lot to work with in Miami as well. So I think this is a good addition as well. I think this is going to be one of the more like takes time to progress. I feel like they're not going to necessarily have a losing season or anything like that, but I feel like it's going to take a little bit more time than some of the rest of these guys, like we said, Lincoln Riley or Brent Venables. But I think I think keeping these kids and like the biggest problem with him was just keeping these kids home, and like he's got a lot of talent down there in South Florida. So if he can just keep them there and they can just continue to keep kids there that are from Miami, South Florida, then I think they're going to be good years to come as well. So going on to my next one, I've got Dan Lanning headed to Oregon. Okay. Old Georgia DC. You see Georgia's defense. It speaks for itself. One of the best I think I've ever seen in college football last year. I mean, when you put in like year in, year out best defenses in college football, I mean, you're bound to get other job offers, bigger job offers. And I think it'll be it'll be a change of scenery for him as well. But like I said, Cristobal had a lot to work with in Oregon and bringing kids in. So I think he's going to have the same advantage of bringing kids to Oregon as well. He brings other coaches with him as well. And he's always like, he maintained like the top 25 class with Cristobal headed to Miami. So I feel like that's a huge hire for them. I feel like he's got a lot of experience. He's more of a defensive minded guy, but I feel like once he gets to Oregon, kind of settle in as a head coach, I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do pretty well.
I agree. I think this year is going to ride a lot on that offense and what talent he has on defense as well. Yeah. It's a question mark right now who's going to be starting quarterback at Oregon. I personally think that it's Bo Nix, and it's not even a competition. I like Ty Thompson over there in Eugene, but I just don't think Bo's played SEC football. He knows what it takes to win. So I think Ty's going to be a great talent. Ty was the highest rated quarterback that they've ever gotten. And so, but this is Bo's year. This is Bo's year to prove that he can play college football and maybe even at the next level. It's gonna be hard to see what they're gonna do. I'm really curious to see what they do over there in Eugene, but I like Dan. Well. I like that as a hire. So I agree. The next guy I want to talk about, we talked about the guy that was there before him and Brian Kelly, but now it is Marcus Freeman's show over there at Notre Dame. He has been their defensive coordinator. He's been their defensive coordinator for the last few years. I think Marcus Freeman is going to be a phenomenal hire at Notre Dame. You look at his recruiting for the 2023 class, and he has right now I think they're at like number one as it stands. So and that can definitely change, but that's higher than Brian Kelly ever sniffed at Notre Dame. The defense isn't going to change at all. It's going to be a phenomenal defense over there at Notre Dame, and I'm super excited to watch them this year. On offense, I think they're going to be just the same. I think they're going to be just as good and just do what they normally do. I don't think much is going to change over on that side of the ball, and it's definitely not changing on defense side of the ball. But you can tell that the players over there are hyped and ready to go. They are super
Oh yeah.
excited for this new era, and they love Marcus Freeman. I don't know if you saw the video when they introduced him as the new head coach to the players, but they all
Yeah, I
jumped
did.
up and ran over to him. They were ecstatic. So you can tell when players love their coach like that, they're going to play hard for him. And so I think if he can keep them inspired like that, I think Notre Dame, they're going to be better without Brian Kelly. That's not a knock on Brian Kelly. I love Brian Kelly, but I think Marcus Freeman's bringing a new energy over there at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I agree. I think one advantage that they have over other schools as well is kind of keeping it in house. Like you said, the players, like if you saw the video, like they were super pumped about having this guy as their head coach. And I mean, the defense isn't going to struggle. He's a defensive minded guy, but now we get to show what he can do as a head coach. And I think, like I said, a huge thing for him is just kind of being in house and being like already having a connection with these players and these fans and stuff like that. I think like his ability to like connect and drive like the locker room is like going to be like what kind of sets him apart from like other hires that we've been mentioning.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and go with old Bill Napier from Lafayette. All right. I think this one's I think it's kind of a more of a culture thing for Florida. They've struggled since Urban Meyer, and I think he's going to kind of change the culture up. You see him at Lafayette. He's won 10 plus games 3 times, and they never accomplished that before he got there. They're always like under 500 since before he got there, and he built like a whole new like experience and culture in Lafayette. And I think he brought plenty of players and staff with him, and it's going to be more of I feel like a rebuild than any of these other schools. I mean, Florida's got the talent as well to bring in like the SEC and keep kids in Florida to go to the SEC. So I think recruiting is going to open up for him a lot as well. He probably didn't have like the pleasure that he did. He's going to have more of a pleasure at Florida than he will at Lafayette, because Lafayette, I mean, you can get kids to come play there and stuff like that. NIL's changing the game and whatnot. But I mean, when you got a school like it's Florida, and then you got Lafayette, okay, you're going to have
Florida.
more kids. Yeah, you're going to have more kids wanting to come to Florida. And I think like opening up new doors for him recruiting wise and stuff like that, and just kind of changing the culture as a whole. I think his is going to be more of like a do or die situation, but I feel like he's going to be on the up and up. And I feel like if he just kind of turns them around and just kind of changes the locker room, because I mean, the players kept on giving up. I feel like he can do good there. I feel like he can do good things there.
I agree. I think one of the biggest deciding factors for Florida in this is it was definitely his record at Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, but also that he has the background of Nick Saban. He worked at Alabama. He was a coach at Alabama under Nick Saban, and he brings that culture like Nick Saban does. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Nick Saban. I'm saying he's going to run a system similar to Nick Saban. And one of the reasons why I think I'm not high on Florida, but I think they can overachieve this year than the national opinion on them is a guy named Anthony Richardson, someone that looks like he came straight out of a lab to play quarterback for the University of Florida. Anthony has the most talent of any quarterback that I've ever seen, the potential. And I think the potential is going to be tapped in by Billy. It may not be this year, like you said, but I think he's going to do wonders with Anthony Richardson, and he's going to make sure he puts him in a place to succeed as well as the rest of the team. I think Billy's going to bring a great atmosphere, like you said, and he's going to make sure things are up to T over there in Gainesville. I love that hire. I don't know how well he's going to do. He's very unproven, but I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what he can do. My last one that I have, it's a sleeper. Not a lot of people are talking about it, but it's for Virginia. Uh,
Okay.
Tony
Okay.
Tony Elliott coming
Okay.
over by way of Clemson, was the offensive coordinator for all of Clemson's national title runs and wins or losses. He was there for all of them. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence. He was with DJ this last year. I know DJ didn't have a lot of success this last year, but I think DJ has a lot of potential. I think things just didn't go their way this last year, but I think Tony Elliott is a great hire. I think he knows what he's doing on the offensive side of the ball. I think the Virginia isn't really a powerhouse in football, but I think they just got a whole lot better with Tony Elliott. He's going to bring the Dabo Sweeney way with him as well, just like Billy Napier's bringing Nick Saban. He's gonna the culture. I think he's gonna rebuild that Virginia team from bottom to top. I mean, he even got. I think Arch Manning went and visited there. I know he's committed to Texas right now, and it was probably a long shot, but he got Arch to come visit. So I'm really excited to see what Tony can do over there at Virginia. Can he turn that team eventually into a national team that people don't want to play? Is it going to be the next a little Clemson? I don't expect them to have the success like Clemson does, but offensively, I think Tony Elliott's going to get them right. Just like Brent Venables, Brent Venables was there forever, and Tony Elliott was alongside him the whole way. So we see what Tony Elliott can do with offenses and quarterbacks. I mean, you got great quarterbacks coming out of Clemson and coming to Clemson. So I'm really excited to see what they do there. I don't expect much in the next few years, but who knows? They may surprise us. But that's all I have for my coaches. You got any more, Andrew?
I ain't got any more. I was just gonna agree with what you said. That was I did have him on my list as well. I think like bringing in like a new experienced guy that's been to the top. And again, you saw there last year wasn't the best, but he's been to the top of the mountain and he knows how to get there. So I feel like again, it's going to take more time with like it not being one of the bigger schools in the nation. But like I agree with what you said. Like them bringing him in was absolutely massive for their program and like years to come. So I agree with that.
Uh now that we've been through some of the top head coaches, who do you think will win a national championship first at their school?
So I think I debated on it a little bit, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Lincoln. I think I'm just gonna have to go with my gut here. I think it was between him and Brent, in my opinion. But I think Lincoln again, like just kind of opening new doors for him on the West Coast and like NIL is changing everything. They got a lot of money over there. And he's just going to continue to bring in top tier talent like he did at Oklahoma continuously. So, I mean, I think him keep on signing in like the top transfer classes like he does. And I mean, I think they've got a legit shot for like a couple years down the road. And again, like I said, I think there's a shot this year. I don't think that they'll do it this year, obviously, but I think that you obviously can't count them out. So I think as far as success and like leading to their first natty, I think Lincoln's going to take them. I think Lincoln's going to take them to the top first.
I can't necessarily disagree. They would be in my top three. I have three that I really can't choose between. The only knock I have on USC has nothing to do with Lincoln Riley other than who he hired to be his defensive coordinator. I think they will not be playing football or defensive football over there at USC at Southern Cal. I think, I mean, you've seen it time and time again with Oklahoma. They even if
Yeah.
they get to the big dance, they can't dance. They don't play defense. So and I think that's going to be the big knock on him. I think that's going to be hard for him to overcome that once he gets there. I fully believe he can get there, and I believe there is a shot. I think Lincoln's a great offensive minded head coach. He just needs to make sure that defense gets right, and I'm just not confident that he will. My other two, Brian Kelly at LSU. I think Brian
Okay.
Kelly has a lot of talent down there at LSU that we haven't seen before that he's been able to have. Because at Notre Dame, you got to meet academic standards and stuff. you don't have to at LSU. So and he has a lot of players that are high caliber down there that I think that we don't even know about yet. I think LSU always has a stacked roster. Louisiana has a great talent, has a ton of talent coming out of high school down there, and I think he's going to be able to tap into that as well. So I think Brian Kelly's going to have a great chance to win the national championship first out of this list. But of course, my last one, it's got to be Brent Venables. He's going to come over and he's going to fix this Oklahoma's defense. I don't believe that it will be top 10 this year. I think it'll be top 20 or 30 though, and I think that's a long ways, a lot better than what it was under Lincoln Riley. And then he brought in Jeff Lebby. So I think the offense isn't really going to take a step back. I think they're going to be different. They're going to play different, but I think the outcome's going to be the same. And if we're able to hold opponents, I think we'll have a great shot at winning the national championship first. I don't know. Those are three that I really think have the chance. The others are kind of, I wouldn't say Marcus Freeman's a rebuild, but I mean, I don't think Notre Dame can acquire the talent that's needed to play with the big boys. So,
No, I don't either, and I agree with the other two as well. Like I said, Brent Venables and him and Lincoln Riley were kind of my top two. I think if I had to pick a third, it would be Brian Kelly as well. Like you said, they've always like they can get people to come to LSU. If they want them to come to LSU, they can get them to come to LSU. You've seen it happen in a year just like that. And next thing you know, they have the best college football team that probably ever walked the face of the earth. Okay. So, I mean, I feel like they've got just extreme talent. And I feel like Brian Kelly is going to be that guy. And Brent Venables, like I said, fixing Oklahoma's defense. I feel like if they get on the right track on that side, then I mean, oof, they could be dangerous because I don't think they're going to struggle on offense. So if he gets that defense right, I think he's got a great shot to do it as well. I think between those three, it'll be between those three and our at least our list of hires.
I agree. I think those will be the most successful out of the group two overall. But who is going to be the least successful and have to face getting fired first?
So I hate to do this. I hate to do this to my boy, but I think if it came down to it, I think old Billy might have to hit the door first. I mean, again, like his resume at Lafayette is good, but things are changing. He's going to the SEC now, okay? And like I said, it's going to be a little bit more of a rebuild for him. So I think I would give him, if anything, I don't think he'd get fired after 2 years, but give him 3 years if he can't make anything happen after 3 years. Not necessarily win a natty, but if he can't at least go, I don't know, 9-3 along those lines, just have a really good up year. I think he's going to be the first one to see the door. And again, it's new competition, a lot of new things happening for him. So I think, and I hate to say it, but I just think if he doesn't get it together within the next couple years, 3 to maybe 4 years, I think he's going to be the first one to see the door.
I can't say that I disagree. I do have great hopes for Billy and what he can bring to Florida, but Florida's got a great schedule every year. Got to play Georgia. I think they can always be number 2 and have lucky years and be number 1 over on that side of the SEC. But I don't know if I can see it. I don't know. He hasn't proven it, and so that's probably why I've have him higher on my list. He hasn't proven that he can win at big boy football. So we'll see about that. Someone that I kind of want to keep an eye on, though. I love Marcus Freeman. Like I said, I think he can do great things over there at Notre Dame. But will Notre Dame be content with Marcus Freeman like they were with Brian Kelly with not winning a national championship? Brian Kelly was there forever, didn't win a national championship. He got close. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to. Will they be content? I don't know. I think Notre Dame has a standard of winning and they'll win, but will they be content with not winning a national championship? Because like I said, I don't think they can accumulate the talent to win a national championship and play with the big boys. I don't think they can with the restrictions that they have on academics and stuff. So I love Marcus Freeman. I think he'll be a good head coach, but will Notre Dame as a program be content not winning a national championship? Because I don't see him being able to pull it off. So I don't know. I think those two are in question. I don't think there's a surefire who's going to be fired first. I think all these coaches have great potential, as I think all head coaches, when you hire them, have great potential, or else you wouldn't hire them. But I think those are the two most likely to be able to kick the can first. But if that one person gets kicked the can first, what top assistant do you see being able to move up in the ranks next year, whether it be to a coordinator position or a head coaching position?
So obviously, some people may know I'm an Arkansas fan, but there's been talks year in the past couple of years that he's been there of Kendall Briles leaving, going to have a new job, looking at getting new job offers and everything. And I think since he's got there in 2020, he's kind of proven that he could be a top play caller. I know some games are different from others, and he can get caught in a jam, just like every other team, obviously. But I feel like he has his ups and downs, just like every other coach. But I feel like he's like made substantial leaps out of Arkansas and developing KJ Jefferson, who's just become dominant and like a top quarterback in the SEC. And I mean, he's landed like several players for the Arkansas team, and I feel like if a coach is or teams are willing to take a chance on him, I think he can do good there. But obviously, I would like him to stick around. We'll see how the tide turns once the season's over and everything. But I would like him to stick around. But I think if it came down to it, I think it might not, and it's probably not going to be a Power Five school. But I mean, I think he could do well for like smaller programs or maybe like a kind of a lower tier D1 school or something like that. I could see him getting a promotion to that head coaching job. I feel like he can run a team, and I feel like he can do it on both sides of the ball if need be. But he's the offensive mastermind and son of Art Briles, who is a genius. And I mean, I think if you give him the opportunity and like he keeps on doing what he's doing at Arkansas for years to come, I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon. But if he does, I feel like he'd get a head coaching job somewhere else, most definitely.
I agree. I think it could kind of be like a Lane Kiffin situation where he leaves being offense coordinator at Alabama to go be head coach at somewhere like FAU. He is son of Art Briles, who is a football mastermind on the field, but off the field he's done some sketchy things. But we won't dig into that right now.
Yeah, I'm sure Kendall
But
has too, but I haven't heard about any of them. So we'll keep that under wraps. Who knows?
uh, but for mine's gonna be it's got to be for me wide receiver coach at Ohio State, Brian Hartline. I mean, you see the talent that he's producing out there in Buckeye Nation. I cannot believe that he's not an offensive coordinator already. He has put in the league multiple wide receivers that they're just better than everybody else. They are just
Yeah.
better than everybody else. I mean,
Yeah.
you saw what their third string wide receiver, Jamison Williams, did when he transferred to Alabama because he didn't want to be third string, but there was so much talent there. And they have again this year so much talent from top to bottom. And I think he'll be an offensive coordinator next. I don't know where or when, but I think it'll probably be next year. I would bet on next year that he becomes an offensive coordinator and runs the show by himself on offense next year somewhere in the nation, and I believe he will do a phenomenal job. I believe that it's probably going to be one of the best hires next year if it does happen. So, you
Yeah,
got
I
anything
agree with
else?
you. I was just gonna say I agree with you on that, and I mean like top tier talent and like Garrett Wilson, Olave, like coming in and out of the school. I mean, just top tier talent I mean, guys, rookie years this year that are going to be successful just in their rookie year. I mean, you're going to see him blow up through the NFL for years to come. And I think just him being able to progress players like that and just put players into the NFL like that, I think a lot of people want to play for him as well. So I think that would be a huge hire as an OC.
I agree. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for us tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, like and subscribe, hit that notification button so that you know when we post. Again, we'll get down to a regular schedule here soon, but we don't know what days that'll be yet. So just go ahead and hit that. Who would be y'all's top 5 coaching hires? Please comment. We'd love to interact with y'all. Top 5 coaching hires, and who do you think is going to win the national championship first? But with that, we're gonna wrap it up. So thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time.
Appreciate y'all. Peace.